Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are doing something a little different.
Just a bit.
Usually, we have these heavy stacks, geopolitics, history, medical breakthroughs. But today the algorithm, or rather our research team, has handed us a file that is, well, it's a cultural artifact, a very specific one.
It is, and I think it's important to say, right off the bat, just because a topic seems online or niche doesn't mean it lacks depth.
Right.
Sometimes the weirdest corners of the internet tell us the most about where our collective heads are at.
I am hoping you're right, because the title of this profile is, it's a lot to take in. We are looking at a figure known as Ballerina Cappuccina, who is described in no uncertain terms as the icon of Italian brainrot.
It's a title that just stops you in your tracks.
It sounds like a randomly generated password. Ballerina Cappuccina Italian brainrot.
Yeah.
But the source material treats this with, absolute seriousness.
It does.
It presents her not as a joke, but as a famous dancer and an icon. So my mission today is to figure out, are we looking at art? Are we looking at a meme? Or are we looking at the end of civilization?
Or maybe all three at once.
Just to set the scene for you, when we say based on a profile, we're talking about a text that analyzes her impact. We don't have the videos in front of us, but the description is vivid. So let's start with the person herself.
Right.
Ballerina Cappuccina.
The name itself.
The name immediately gives you this clash of worlds. I mean, ballerina is high status, it's the Bolshoi, it's bleeding toes and rigid discipline, it's classical.
It's arguably the most disciplined art form in human history. It requires, total control over the body.
Exactly. But then you slap Cappuccino next to it, and suddenly the opera house just vanishes, and I'm standing at a counter in Rome, or maybe a Starbucks drive-thru. It feels so casual.
It's a diminutive, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds cute. It rhymes. It takes the terrifying austerity of the ballerina and softens it. It makes her consumable.
Consumable is a great word for it. But here's where I get stuck. The source explicitly calls her a famous dancer.
Right, a dancer.
Not an influencer who moves around, but a dancer.
And that distinction is crucial.
But is it? I mean, in the age of TikTok dances, does famous dancer actually mean technical skill anymore? Or does it just mean she has a signature move that everyone copies?
That's the tension the source really highlights. If you look at the history of dance, fame used to come from the institution. You were famous because you were the principal at the Royal Ballet.
Of course.
But this profile suggests her fame comes from the context she's in. She's not famous because of Swan Lake. She's famous because she exists inside Italian brainrot.
Okay, we have to tackle this phrase, Italian brainrot.
We do.
It's the setting, the genre, the ecosystem she lives in. I think most people have a vague idea of what brain rot means. Online, loud noises, fast cuts, things that make you feel like your IQ is dropping in real time.
Well, let's push past this sort of pejorative, stupid definition. Sociologically, brain rot content is usually characterized by overstimulation and a breakdown of narrative logic.
Oh.
It's daddyism for the iPad generation. It rejects context. It's just pure, visceral input.
So it's sensory overload?
Correct, but then you add the modifier, Italian.
Which is fascinating, because usually internet culture feels placeless. It's just the void. But this is specifically Italian brain rot. What does that actually look like?
Think about the stereotypes, but also the aesthetic reality of Italian pop culture. It's often high energy, it's gestural, it's passionate.
Loud.
Often loud. If you look at Italian television variety shows in the 80s and 90s, they were already a form of proto-brain rot. Bright colors, showgirls, rapid-fire talking, surreal comedy sketches.
It's true. It's a very maximalist aesthetic.
Exactly. So when you talk about Italian brain rot today, you're likely seeing a digital evolution of that. It's not the numbness of, say, American brain rot. It's an aggressive, passionate, stylish chaos.
Stylish chaos. I like that. So Ballerina Cappuccina is the queen of that specific kingdom.
She is the figurehead.
But I have to ask, does a ballerina fit there? Ballet is structured, it's quiet, it's about lines. Brain rot is about mess.
Right.
Is she the antidote to the rot, or is she part of the rot?
I think the source argues she is the embodiment of the rot, but elevated. Think about it. If you take the technical skill of a ballerina, the speed, the turns, the flexibility, and you strip away the classical context, what do you have? You have a human body doing impossible, glitchy things.
Oh, that's a creepy image. Like a video game character bugging out, but it's a real person.
Precisely. In a brain rot context, a pirouette isn't a poetic expression of longing.
No.
It's a visual loop.
Wow.
It's a fidget spinner made of flesh.
Wow. That is bleak, but also kind of compelling.
It creates a spectacle. And that's what this genre demands. It doesn't want a story. It wants a spectacle. A ballerina, in this context, becomes a special effect.
So she's famous not because she's telling a story with her body, but because she provides a dopamine hit.
She is a visual stimulant. And the name Cappuccina reinforces that.
Let's go back to that, because the source makes a big deal about her name being part of her icon status. We touched on it sounding cute, but there's more there, isn't there?
Well, think about the ritual of the cappuccino, especially in Italy.
Right.
It's a morning staple. It is a burst of energy. It's frothy and delightful, but it is gone in 5 minutes.
And you can't have one after 11:00 a.m. or the police come and arrest you.
Culturally speaking, yes.
Yeah.
But applying that to a digital icon, it suggests she is meant to be consumed in short bursts. She isn't a 3-hour opera. She is a 15-second clip.
She's the morning jolt.
She's the morning jolt. And maybe, like caffeine, she's slightly addictive. You watch one loop of the ballerina, then another, and suddenly you're jittery, but you want more.
This brings me to the icon part of the title.
Yes.
The source doesn't say she's a popular creator. It says she is the icon. That is a heavy word. We throw it around a lot. Ooh, iconic behavior. But in a profile like this, it implies she represents the whole movement.
It does. In semiotics, an icon stands in for the thing itself. If you see a picture of the Eiffel Tower, you think Paris.
Right.
If you see Ballerina Cappuccina, you think Italian Brainrot.
Which is a huge burden for a dancer. Imagine being the face of Brainrot.
But consider what that requires. To be the icon of a genre defined by chaos, you have to be the most captivating thing in the chaos. The internet is a fire hose of content.
Totally.
To rise to the top of the Italian Brainrot sector, which we can assume is crowded with yelling gamers and surreal memes, she has to have something magnetic.
So maybe the ballerina part, the training, the discipline, is what gives her the edge. Like she can cut through the noise because she actually has technique.
I think that's highly likely. Even a nonsense quality stands out. There's a precision to her movement that perhaps frames the chaos.
It's the contrast again. If everyone else is just flailing and she does a perfect grand jeté into a wall.
Exactly. That is comedy. That is tragedy. That is art.
It reminds me of, well, is it a stretch to talk about Commedia dell'arte? You mentioned the variety shows earlier.
But Italy has this centuries-old tradition of stock characters. The Harlequin, the Pantalone, is Ballerina Cappuccina, just a modern stock character.
That is a brilliant connection. Absolutely. Commedia was about archetypes. You knew exactly who the character was by their mask and their movement. You didn't need a complex backstory.
And here, the mask is the persona, the Ballerina Cappuccina name.
And the movement is the dance. In the digital age, we've returned to stock characters. We scroll past them. Oh, there's the angry chef. There's the sad girl. There's the Ballerina Cappuccina.
Oh.
We know what they offer instantly.
That makes the Brainrot label make more sense. It's not about deep engagement. It's about recognizing the pattern. Ah, the ballerina's doing the thing. I am satisfied. Scroll.
And she is the icon because she performs her archetype perfectly every time. She doesn't break character.
But I want to push back on something. If this is Brainrot, and if it's just 15-second dopamine loops, is she actually a famous dancer in the way we should care about? Or is the source text playing a trick on us? Is calling her a famous dancer satirical? That is the cynical interpretation, and it's valid.
Yeah.
Could be mocking the decline of standards. Look, this is what we consider a famous dancer now.
Right, like Pavlova is rolling in her grave.
However, I'm going to take the optimist's view here, or at least the populist view. Fame is simply the aggregate of attention. If she has millions of eyes on her, she is a famous dancer. The venue has changed. The stage is now a vertical screen. The audience is distracted. But the act of performance remains.
And maybe the difficulty is even higher. Pavlova didn't have to compete with a video of a hydraulic press crushing a watermelon right next to her.
That's true. Capturing attention in the Brainrot economy is a survival skill.
Let's talk about the Italian aspect one more time, because the source specifies the icon of Italian Brainrot. Why does the nationality matter so much here? Why isn't she just the icon of ballet Brainrot?
Cultural specificity grounds the meme. If it were just ballet, it feels generic. But Italian Brainrot implies a community. It implies inside jokes.
Like specific songs.
Like,
or hand gestures.
Definitely specific music, probably sped up versions of Italo disco or distorted opera tracks. But also, it taps into how Italians view themselves online. There's a self-awareness to it.
Explain that.
Well, every culture has its own brand of internet cringe or chaos. By embracing Italian Brainrot, the audience is celebrating their own specific flavor of madness. Ballerina Cappuccina becomes a mascot for their shared experience.
Wow.
She is one of us, but famous.
So she's a national hero.
In a digital sense, yes.
Mhm.
She represents the chaotic energy of the nation.
That is fascinating. It turns the brain rot from an insult into a badge of honor. Yes, our brains are rotting, but look how stylishly we do it. We have a ballerina.
And we have a cappuccino.
It really creates a distinct image. I'm picturing this vivid, high-saturation world where logic doesn't exist, but style is everything.
Which, if you've ever studied the Futurists, the Italian art movement from the early 20th century isn't actually that new. They loved speed, they loved violence, they loved machinery and noise, they wanted to burn down the museums.
Wait, are you saying Italian brain rot is neo-futurism?
I'm saying the impulse to destroy traditional narrative and replace it with speed, shock, and energy has deep roots in Italian culture. Ballerina Cappuccina is just the latest iteration. She is a futurist sculpture in motion.
That is way too deep for a deep dive about a meme, but I love it.
That's what we do here.
So we've established she's a dancer, she's a stock character, she's a caffeine hit, and she's a neo-futurist icon. That is a heck of a resume.
It's a lot for one profile.
But what happens to an icon of brain rot eventually? We know how traditional careers end retirement, teaching, maybe a Kennedy Center honor. How does a career in brain rot end?
That is the dark side of the cappuccino metaphor.
Yeah.
Ideally, you finish the coffee and you move on. Icons of the internet tend to burn out fast. The rot consumes them.
Because the audience gets bored.
Because the demand for novelty is infinite. Once the ballerina joke is understood, oh, it's the classical dancer in the crazy world, it stops being surprising.
So she has to escalate.
She has to get faster, weirder, more chaotic. The brain rot demands more rot.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. It's a voracious machine.
Yeah.
Being the icon is a precarious position. You are only the icon as long as you are the most stimulating thing on the screen.
It makes me respect the hustle, honestly. It's one thing to learn a pirouette. It's another thing to keep pirouetting while the internet screams at you to spin faster.
It requires a spine of steel,
Mm-hmm.
which, ironically, is exactly what ballet training gives you.
Full circle. The discipline allows her to survive the brain rot.
I believe so.
You know, when we started this, I thought we were just going to have fun with a funny name. But this actually says a lot about how we consume art now. We don't go to the gallery. We wait for the gallery to come to us in a 10-second clip, sandwiched between a cat video and a car crash.
And we strip the art of its context. We take the ballerina out of the ballet. We just want the aesthetic of the ballerina.
We want the vibe.
We want the vibe. Ballerina Cappuccina is pure vibe. There is no plot. There is no libretto. There's just the vibe of Italian excellence mixed with digital chaos.
And maybe that's okay. Maybe we don't always need the 3-act structure. Sometimes you just need the cappuccino.
As long as you acknowledge what it is, it's a stimulant. It's not a meal, but it has its place.
Before we wrap up, I want to ask you something. If you came across Ballerina Cappuccina on your feed tonight, knowing what you know now, that she is the icon, would you watch or would you scroll?
I would watch. I would watch because I want to see how she maintains her balance. In a world of brain rot, keeping your balance is the hardest thing to do. If she can do that, she deserves the title of icon.
That is a surprisingly poignant take on a brain rot star.
I'd try my best.
Well, there you have it. We have stared into the abyss of Italian brain rot, and the abyss pirouetted back at us.
With a frothy top.
Exactly. I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over as you go about your day. We've talked about Ballerina Cappuccina as a product of her environment. But think about this. Is she reflecting the chaos of the internet, or is she actually structuring it? If we didn't have icons like her to focus on, would the brain rot just be unbearable noise? Maybe we need the ballerina to make the rot survivable.
That is the question. Is she the symptom or the cure?
We'll let you decide. Thanks for diving in with us. Stay curious, stay caffeinated, and we'll see you next time.